Okay, today I want to talk about pins. That's what we talked about in class today, and I just want to kind of follow up on that. So a pin is something that can be done by bishops, rooks, and queens. So bishop, rooks, and queens can do pins. It's all your ranged attackers that attack in a straight line. Here we actually have the king and queen are lined up on the same diagonal with each other. They exist on this same diagonal. So if we could put a ranged attacker like a bishop and queen on there, it would pin them together. So pause your video if you want to find the move for my students. But what do we play here to pin the queen and king together? Yeah, so the queen is helping defend g4 here. So you can actually move your bishop here, defended once again by the queen. That's important. It has to be a defended piece. And now the queen cannot move out from in front of her king. She would have to either capture, but she can't move out of check. So now, queens are worth 9 points, bishops are only worth 3. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and trade here. And we're going to have a very nice game with a queen versus a knight. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe avoid having your king and queen on the same color, or be careful when you have your king and queen on the same color. Otherwise, the knight might fork you. But otherwise, it should be a pretty easy game for you. Okay, again, we're looking for pins. As I've said, it can be done by rooks, queens, or kings. Okay, so rooks, queens, or king, or excuse me, rooks, queens, or bishops. Rooks, queens, and bishops can do the pins. So all your long distance ranged attackers. So it's white to play a pin here. Can you find it? Go ahead and pause your video if you'd like. But yeah, the king and the knight are lined up with each other. So you imagine a line that goes through them. You want to put your attacking piece on that same line. So hopefully you pause your video if that's what you want to do to find the move. But the move is rook to d7. This is an absolute pin of the knight. The king has to move here. He's the only other piece. And then, yeah, you can totally win this game. You would use the box mate, which I have uh, the box mate, several videos on that on my channel, so you might check that out. I'll try to link it. All right, let's continue. So looking for pins here. All right, so it's black, or excuse me, it's white to play here, and you can pin the rook to the king. Where would you have to move in order to pin the rook to the king? This is an absolute pin. An absolute pin is a situation where the king where the piece that is pinned can absolutely cannot move. So again, we're using, obviously this is with a bishop. The pins are done with bishops, rooks, and queens, and all we have is a bishop. So we need to find a bishop move that lines up with these pieces. That would be a pin, not a very straight line. But you've got to put the bishop on that same line. Hopefully you've seen it or you've paused your video and thought about it if that's what you want to do. But this is an absolute pin. Again, that means the rook absolutely cannot move. They must move the king, and we'll go ahead and capture here. In a situation like this, now you do normally want to get your king in front of your pawn and kind of escort him up the board, although we have the bishop to kind of help us out. You do have to promote the pawn to win. You cannot win with just a bishop. Need at least a rook, hopefully a queen to checkmate, but you can do it with a rook. All right, it is white to play once again and enact another pin. Can you find it? Can you find the pin here? White to play. All right, so again here we do have the king and the queen are lined up with each other on the same diagonal. Anytime you see that, you should be like, ooh, the king and queen are lined up. Whether they're on the same rank, like a rook might attack, or on the same diagonal as we see here. Hopefully you've all spotted this move here, but the bishop is defended by the queen as it moves to f5 here, and there's no way for them to save the queen. Not sure what they're going to do here. Maybe develop their rook. Yeah, you want to try to get your pieces developed, so there was really nothing they could do there, so they're going to get their rook into the action, and yeah, we're up a queen. We're up for a queen for a bishop, actually, because they both have rooks. So big advantage. Okay, so white to play here once again, and we're trying to get another pin. So pause your video if you want to think about this pin, looking for pieces to line up. This one has been, we've been seeing a lot of the same thing here as far as the same type of pin, mostly bishop pins. But hopefully you paused your video and came up with your answer. But here again, the king and queen are on the same diagonal. And white has several pieces controlling this a6 square. The rook, the bishop, the queen are all attacking that square. So hopefully you figured out the move that we need to play here. Just simply bishop to a6. Bishop to a6 pins the queen. They can't move the queen other than to maybe capture the bishop. The knight was poorly placed, so they developed the knight instead. And we go ahead and capture. You know, a queen is worth 9 points and a bishop just 3. So of course, in most cases, you're going to capture the queen. Let's look at one or two more difficult pins. Okay, it's black to play here. And in this case, there's a pin on the board. Maybe you can spot what the best move to play in this position is. So if you need to go ahead and pause your video, but what is the best move in this position? So as I said, the pin exists here. So the pin is actually right, whoops. The pin is right here. That pawn is pinned to the queen, okay? Yeah, the queen is undefended here. If she was defended, this wouldn't be an issue. But the fact that she's undefended, we can actually just go ahead and capture the bishop here. If we capture the bishop, we get 3 points. They may capture us. They don't here. If they would have captured us, we would have captured their queen. So we get a free bishop here. We probably want to just go ahead and defend our rook. Not sure which the best way is. We're up a bishop, so we're fine with trading rooks. So we traded rooks there, and we have the advantage. Let's do one more of these. So, you know, pins can get more complex is kind of the point behind these. So they start off fairly simple. They're a fundamental thing, but they can get more complex. Okay, so it is black to play here and take advantage of a pin. Pause your video if you want to think about it. Okay, so we always want to keep track of checks. We want to keep track of capturing moves, you know, different attacks that could be made. But you also, it's a good idea to keep an eye on, you know, unprotected pieces. Unprotected pieces, just pieces that are not defended at all. And this bishop is not defended. So the pin is actually really hard to see. There is a pin almost right here. Now the knight's in the way of that pin. So the crazy thing is actually we can go ahead and capture this pawn attacking the queen because that pawn on c3 is pinned to that unprotected bishop. So that's a free pawn plus an attack on the queen. They can't capture. They're not going to capture there because they would lose the bishop, and then we would also be attacking the b2 pawn, and it would just be a disaster. So here we gain a central pawn. We destroyed a central pawn, which is kind of a big deal. I'm not sure where we want to go with our knight here. We could just move him back, probably is best. Or, yeah, so we could just go ahead and move back and look for a trade, perhaps. There may have been a better move there, but yeah, we got one of the central pawns, which center control, most important thing in the opening. So capturing a central pawn for free, that's a heck of a deal. You have an advantage. Okay, Anyway, still unlimited classes till August 18th if you go to legendarychess.com and register for the summer youth program. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, pins are one of the most fundamental chess tactics. Definitely one you want to know. Anyway, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.